Welcome to episode 12 of the Total English Podcast, the place to learn advanced English and boost your understanding and confidence with conversational English listening practice. My name's Shandon, and I'm a native British English teacher with 6 years of experience teaching languages. In this episode, I'm going to speak about working from home, something that's very common nowadays. I'm going to speak about what it is, the advantages and disadvantages of working from home, and my opinions on it. So I hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. It's crazy how much the world has changed since the coronavirus pandemic, and the world of work is no exception. The world of work has changed a huge amount since the pandemic. There have been lots of changes in how we work. One of the biggest changes that there's been has been the rise of working from home, or remote working, as it's also called. Pre-pandemic, or before the pandemic, in England, people used to go to the office 5 times a week. Everyone, pretty much, used to go to the office 5 times a week. And there was no working from home, at least not on a large scale. The odd person, here and there, might have worked from home, but the large majority went to the office 5 times a week. Nowadays, hardly anyone goes to the office 5 times a week. Some people don't go to the office at all, and they only work from home. Another phrase for this is that they are fully remote. They don't go into the office at all. In England, most people do hybrid working, which is a mix between going into the office and working from home. The most common is for people to go to the office 3 times a week and work from home twice a week. Many people, instead of that, go to the office twice a week and work from home 3 times a week. People who go to the office usually go between Tuesday and Thursday. For example, if somebody goes to the office 3 times a week, they will usually go on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's very rare nowadays for people to go to the office on Monday or Friday. Those tend to be work from home days, so that people can extend their weekends that bit longer. Working from home has been made possible by the internet. We can have video calls using Zoom or Google Meet. There are messaging platforms like Slack or Microsoft Teams, and it's easy to collaborate with other colleagues. There are so many different tools to collaborate remotely nowadays, so that we don't have to be in the same place to work together. So what are some of the advantages of working from home? One advantage is that it provides more flexibility for workers. If they have a doctor's appointment, they need to pick up their children from school, or something else, work from home provides an extra bit of flexibility. Workers can also save money on transport. Since they don't have to travel to the office every day, they can save money on petrol or on public transport spending. Workers also save time commuting. Commuting is a word that means traveling to work. Commuting. So since workers don't have to travel to the office as often, they save time on commuting. Instead of taking a train for an hour to get to work, they can spend an extra hour in bed or watching television, for example. Another advantage of working from home is that workers can work in their ideal environment. They can set up their home office in the ideal way for how they want to work, which should make them more productive and should make them happier in the work that they're doing. This is also a clear benefit for companies. If your workers are happier and more productive, that should be better for the company. A final advantage is that companies can potentially save some money. If they don't need an office for every day of the week, they might be able to save some money on office costs. So those are some of the advantages of working from home. What are the disadvantages? First, there's less human interaction when people are working from home. Instead of speaking to your colleagues in the office, having lunch with your colleagues, and so on, everybody is alone in their own house. This leads to weaker relationships with your colleagues and can lead to isolation, with people not having close connections with their colleagues. Another disadvantage is that it can be more difficult to make decisions when people are working remotely. If you have meetings and everybody is in the same room, it can be easy to reach a decision, whereas it can be much harder if you have to try to make a decision online using a messaging platform like Slack, for example. Another disadvantage is that if people are working from home, sometimes they're not getting work done. This might be because they feel less pressure to work because they're not surrounded by their colleagues, but it can also be because there are more distractions if people are working from home. For example, the television, other housemates, housework. The list is endless. Another disadvantage is that it can be harder to learn from others. If you sit side by side in an office with your colleagues, it's easy to learn from them and to ask them questions. This is much more difficult online, which can lead to slower learning for employees. Final disadvantage is that if people are working from home, they might overwork because, for example, their bedroom might be where they sleep, but also where they work. There's no separation of spaces, which can lead to a bad work-life balance. What do I think? I like working from home. I enjoy the flexibility that it gives me, and I feel more focused when I'm at home. I get in the zone, and I get a lot more work done usually when I'm working from home. But I think it's important to also have time in the office with colleagues so that you're able to build relationships with them. My ideal situation is 3 days in the office and 2 days at home. That's the end of this English podcast episode about working from home. I hope you learned something new, and I hope that it was useful for improving your English listening and understanding. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Total English is the place to master spoken English and get your dream job. Follow us on Instagram for daily English learning content. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time.